Hello, everybody. Tonight is a surprise last minute thing that I decided to do because I've been kind of in a slump there in regards to some of the research that I've been doing concerning, the United States and everything that's going on. Anyways, ce soir, ça va être encore en anglais, malheureusement, mais j'ai une vidéo que vous pourrez voir là, avec la traduction en bas du vidéo que je vais vous montrer. C'est concernant les tarifs. Alors, anyways, I'm going to be showing you a video in regards to tariffs and to give you kind of a breakdown of what I've been seeing. And it's kind of really surprising and shocking to see that what we witnessed in the United States with the Trump, coming up to his elections and everything that was done. Well, the same thing happened with the president of Argentina. And it's like copy paste in every country. So we're seeing things in other countries happening as well, where you have the far right. So when they're talking about the far right, it's the extremists as well. And when I started looking at everything and connecting the dots, and you have to connect the dots, because all of this again goes all the way back to the WEF. And people will say, oh, but Trump and Elon Musk and them are against the WEF. And well, of course. Okay. I mean, you'll have to live it. Okay. You'll have to wait and see. So this is kind of my little, how can I say, how would you call that? I'm not seeing into the future, but prophecy. Okay, the prophecy of what will be happening. And the thing is if we 2020, hindsight is 2020, right? So when we're looking at everything that kind of transpired with COVID and everything, and the mass psychosis that was created with it, you can go out, you can't go out, you can go out, you can't go out. And this is how mass psychosis is done. Okay. Especially if you want to do like a whole country. Well, you've just seen it, you've witnessed it, and you've lived it. Okay. And so did the other countries. Some not so much, but others just as bad, if not worse. So in every country, we went through the same thing. And if you look at the WEF, and who's behind that, and I'm going to say it right here and now, okay, a lot of Zionists are behind this, okay, and behind the WEF and everything else, and also interconnected with ozventures.com, okay, Israel, Canada, the United States. And in there, if you look at the ones who ordered the virus to be created. Everybody likes to blame Wuhan, China. No, you have to blame the United States military, and they ordered to get a virus created. So Canada was involved in that as well. So they have the medical military consortium that they've created, the medical countermeasures consortium. And then you have all the pharmaceuticals and everything. So when you start looking at the big picture, and then you start connecting the dots, and then you see that we're being played, okay? We are totally being played. So when I hear people saying, we need to get out of the WHO, and we need to get out of the United Nations, and like our own governments, the WEF infiltrated everything. But what's behind the WEF? The ADL, APAC, okay, all of these things, the Brotherhood, okay, shock. So when you start connecting all of these dots together, and all of the major corporations embedded into the WEF, and what they've been doing with, and this goes way back to 1992, okay? We can bring this all the way back to Agenda 21, Rio de Janeiro, okay? Public-private partnerships, 1993, or Brian Mulroney. Now we've got Stephen Harper in bed with Israel and the United States. Heavy duty, and including MI5, CIA, all of these things. Please go to AWZ, okay, Oz, AWZ Ventures.com. Connect the dots. The connection to Justin Trudeau with, a lot of this stuff. The organizations, the Jewish organizations here in Canada giving away, 100. You can invest up to $102,000 a year into Israel tax free. Do our Canadians get that kind of bonus? No, they don't. We've got doctors who have moved because of high tax rates for second homes like cottages and things like that. So it's really crazy. And when you look at it and you go back, Bella, Dave Bajorkman, please, no, thank you. And I'm fed up with people, trying to give me to say, go to other people, go to other people. Tell them to give me a call. Okay. So anyways, the reason why I'm trying to talk to you tonight is that, people are going to allow this to happen, okay? Because we see it in the countries. When you look at Javier Milei from Argentina, the poster boy of the WEF, and Klaus Schwab's two favorites was Justin Trudeau and Javier Milei. And then, Javier Milei told the WEF off last year. And now Milei told the WEF off too, right behind Trump. And they told the WEF off, and yay, and everybody's so happy. And what you guys don't know is that what Trump did with the AI, those corporations, well, the United Nations, that has been infiltrated. Okay, just like the WHO and everything else, just like our governments, said that, we're going straight AI. Well, if you go back to 1992 and the 17 global goals, the United Nations global goals, if you looked at, I had researched all of the committee, okay, that was with the Secretary of the United Nations, all those members that were, how do you call them? I have it in French, but anyways, they guide, okay, the Secretary General. So Accenture was in there, and this is where we first heard about digital ID for everybody on the planet, okay? So I started freaking out over that. And then Accenture eventually opened up an office here in Canada. But there's a lot of information, and I don't have time to explain all of these to you. And unless you've researched all of this and how they're bringing about their global governance, it's here. It's already here. Okay. So I really don't know what, what the people are going to do. How are they going to hang on here? I just need to do something. Okay. And thank you. Well, now, the thing is what I need to give this message. What I have done now is people think they're being blocked, okay, on our Facebook, or I'm not allowing anymore because of being shadow banned. One of the comments that was made by Facebook was that our people are nasty. Okay, well, when you put certain things or whatever, well, you're going against the rules, so we get penalized. And when we promote something, we get penalized. And we've been shadow banned so much that I've stopped allowing comments, because first of all, I don't have time to come and argue with people in the comments. I don't have time to answer. I've got too much to do. And so instead of getting a chance of being penalized because of something that was said in one of the comments, I stop the comments after I do my live stream. So nobody's being penalized. Nobody's being blocked, let's say. I just blocked one there. Okay. So, anyways, depending on if it's a troll, yeah, I'm going to block you. Okay. But I'm not here to argue with people in the chat because you're a waste of my time. Okay. So, if you're listening to us, please listen to what we're saying instead of trying to give us some pointers. Listen to what we have to say first, because that's the problem, okay, with Canadians and people worldwide. You just want to chat away and talk and not even listen to a word we're saying and make your accusations or give us your you're going to teach us how we can do things in Canada. Well, if you have a solution, please bring it forward. Get it done. But my whole point of doing this tonight was to give you a heads up to go and look everywhere else, and you're going to see carbon copy of everything, okay? Carbon copy of everything. Eventually, okay, you'll have less taxes to pay in Canada, just like everybody else. They're following the Trump stance, okay, on this. So now we've got the far right. So what they did with the mass, how do I say that? Psychosis. The mass psychosis started to be created with COVID. Now there's going to be, and then you had the mass psychosis of government corruption. Embedded into that was the woke agenda. And if you remember, well, I kept telling you, the woke are being used. The trans are being used. And sure enough, so what they did, the WEF did, and everybody who's bringing in this global government, okay, to rule over everybody, is that they figured out how to create this mass psychosis, okay? We can prove all of this stuff to begin with, okay? And I've already proven some. If you go back to my videos, I have videos where I show you exactly what happened. United States created, or the military from the United States launched the virus. Okay, whether it came from I would assume more it came from Canada. Okay, and that's the one they used. But when the U.S. military sent out a proposal to create a coronavirus, then you had Wuhan, China, who was working with 4 other United States corporations. And if you look at the whole schematic of it, it's not China, the country itself, that was part of this virus. It was Wuhan, China, that actually participated with the other 4 United States companies to offer to create a virus for $14 million. Okay. So again, you got to look a little bit beyond. And then we found out that the UK was told by the WHO not to divulge how the virus was created. And the whole thing was that if anybody cared to read the conclusion of it, would have seen that the virus could not really affect any healthy cells. That was it. That would have been game over. But no, we went through all this drama and mass psychosis, and nobody, thousands and hundreds of thousands of doctors never read the conclusion. Seriously. So anyways, a long story short, the WHO has been infiltrated. So now we have a whole bunch of people saying we need to walk away from the WHO, we need to walk away from the UN, we need to okay, and so on. And I have to say they did a really great job, because all of this kind of comes back to the art of war. Okay, the United States document, The Art of War. It's a good read, people. So if you kind of follow that, you see what's transpiring. So how do you go about getting global governance and be able to go after countries like the United States, where the people are carrying guns and all kinds of things? So, so between COVID, bringing in migrants, bringing in, you know, corruption, uh, blatant corruption right into in your face. The woke agenda with the transgendered and all of this stuff was really overwhelming, right? Well, it was on purpose. And you can see it from country to country to country. And now, I mean, Mele brought a chainsaw to his to whenever he go and speak within his political platform, his rallies, and just like Trump, you know. And I mean, it's so sickening. I did a whole thing on it, and I was supposed to show you that, but you know, what's the point? Canadians won't listen. You guys haven't been listening to us. You know, 7 years into this, going on 8, and you know, it's like, what do we do now? What does the CPU do now? Well, we've got a solution, the only legal solution in Canada, actually on the planet, for the people to be able to take their rightful place above their governments and to have final say. Now, the only ones who can stop what's going on would be for the people to rise, pretty much like what we did with our Canadian referendum that everybody can sign. And but if you only sign and don't support the CPU, well, can't do anything more than that, because you know, we if we need to be able to debate this in court and whatnot, well, we can't move forward. I'm sorry. You need to support the CPU and join the Canadian referendum community and get educated, because you know, you can never rely that I'm going to be here forever. Anything can happen, so you need to be educated with the information we gave you, because eventually maybe you'll need that information. So right now we've been wasting months and months and nobody's really gotten involved. So it's like, okay, well, they're chasing all kinds of rainbows. They think that if we come out of the WHO, it's going to be fine. Well, let me tell you that Canada created a law, okay, a healthcare law, just as bad as what the WHO had written. Mind you, the WHO is not allowed to supersede our international human law rights. Okay, your body, your choice. And the only ones that give you that, okay, the only ones that protect our rights to be able to do what we're trying to do is the United Nations International Bill of Human Rights, with our social and cultural rights and our civil and political rights together. And if we amass collectively on the one thing that needs to be done, like as in with the referendum, then we can remove Charles and have our own power recognized, because 1960 in decolonization, okay, and then it took up till 1982 for Canada to do it, but they never said what they were doing. But we've proven that that's what it was. We were actually decolonized from the UK. But Trudeau forgot to do a referendum because he needed all of the Canadian citizens and then the Indigenous peoples on their side to see if we were going to keep the crown and what kind of system we were going to have. But they tried to avoid all that, even with the other two referendum, okay, that flopped. They were never honest with us. So technically, we were the head of state. April 17th, 1982, we became the collective head of state. But nobody realized what the hell was happening. Okay, so if nobody wants to take my word for it, the lawyers don't want to read the documents. I hear people in Quebec saying, "Oh, can King Charles do anything?" Oh no, yeah, and you know, the UN's not gonna come in here and stop anything. And I mean, these lawyers, seriously, I don't think so. The thing is there's a certain way to do things. The international would be all over this, and we need to make sure that we all have the right information and that we're able to actually be all how can I say, that we need to all know why we're doing this. And if people are just interested in signing, and then they're signing, they're not even signing properly, no full name, no nothing. The document that we've got there, I have to throw out quite a few, and that from people who went and signed, but put all kinds of stupid things on there. So I have to destroy those and delete, because they wouldn't count. You need to be able to stand up on your own 2 feet, not be afraid, put in your name, phone number, and your full address and postal code. Okay. Otherwise, that signature is for nothing. So every time somebody signs, we have to pay for that. Okay. So please at least sign properly, or don't sign that. If you're not going to do that, don't sign at all, because then I'm paying for nothing. Okay. To just throw into the bin. So that needed to be cleared up. But again, what do we do with Canadian citizens who don't know what the hell? Yesterday, if you were following me, I had a letter for Donald Trump. Some people commented that, I should be more diplomatic. Well, listen, I'm past being diplomatic, okay? And I will give you respect, okay, when it's due. And as far as I'm concerned, we're all equals. Okay. That's my religion. Okay. In my religion, we are all equals. So Donald Trump or Justin Trudeau, am I going to bow down and call them honorable and Mr. President? Hell no. Okay. Hell no. So we're all equals. So I only pay respect to my elders. Okay, so maybe Mr. Trump. But at this point, this is not a man that I can say I respect. Okay, I'll be honest, I do not respect him. And no, Trump wouldn't listen to me. Okay, my dad was a car salesman, and Donald reminds me of that. Okay, and the thing is a lot of people are going through the what I call is the Trump cult. Okay. So anything that he's saying right now, everybody's enamored, everybody's in their how can I say honeymoon period. Well, if you start looking everywhere else, you're gonna see that this is copy pasted almost everywhere. And if you look at Argentina and the South American countries, they were the first ones to start seizing bank accounts from protesters. Okay, and if we would have known that, they did that 3 years before they did that to the convoy people. So again, if we don't look anywhere, if we only stick our noses to this country or just to the United States, you're not going to find out any real information. Okay, you're not going to be fully prepared. And this is why when I started researching the WEF, who was in the WEF, why was all this happening, how can we make sure to stop it, how can we guarantee that what we try to do to stop it actually wins? What are the arguments? What are the lawyers going to come out with? What are the justices going to do? What are the laws internationally? Who's going to try to stop us internationally? So I had to learn all this, and then I'm trying to pass it on to use. And what you do with it, that's your business. But if you really want to save this country, you're overdue. You're overdue. I've been kind of, since the inauguration, I hated talking about Donald Trump and what happens in, the United States, because we have our problem here. Let's focus on our problem here. And everybody was focused on the United States and Trump. And I said, to hell with Trump. We got a problem here. But oh no, this Trump cult. Well, if you love Trump, pack your bags. Go to the United States if you want it so much. But why would Canadian citizens give up For the first time, we have the right to decide what happens to all of our natural resources. We'd have the right to determine what the banks do and don't do. We'd have the right to determine what corporations come into Canada. But no, it's too much for everybody to understand. Nobody understands that. Oh no, Mr. Trump, come and save us, poor Canadians. We want to be the 51st state. Come and help us, help us, help us. Well, guess what? You want his health care? Just move. Why are you whining? Come and take us over. Pack your fucking bags. Stop crying. Just pack your bags, move. Excuse my language, but hey, and Dennis says, well, Nicole, maybe you should be more ladylike, maybe more people would listen. And at this point, after 17 years of research and doing all this, I really do not care, okay, what people think. I'm so beyond that, okay? If you need me to be able to tiptoe around you, good luck with that one. My thought would be, but who the hell do you think you are that I have to put on kid gloves to talk to you? I'm going to talk to you exactly the way I feel, because that's how I feel. If I want to bow down to you, well, maybe I will. Hey, I go with the flow, right? So anyways, long story short, there's a huge mass psychosis coming again. Get ready for it. And everything that you'll hear, whether it's liberal, NDP, you're going to hear the same rhetoric. Now they're trying to throw everybody to the far right, to the extremists. And then after that, they're going to come and cut you off at the knees. How? No more taxes. Yay! Trump is removing taxes. Fuck that one, hey? What a good guy. What's going to follow after that? Job losses. Universal income for everybody. You can only get a job if you merit it. And then so on and so on. But everybody's going to go through the motions thinking, oh, everything's good. And look at that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's got balls, right? He's also a pathological liar. So you're going to trust a pathological liar? What I was working on the other day, Steve Bannon. Oh, my God. Okay. He helped Trump get to where he is. They brought in the libertarians. Okay. So now to be able to win our election, we have to go to the far right. And that's part of the mass psychosis, right? So we're going to go extreme left, bring in the woke, do all of these things, commit corruption, do all kinds of stuff, get the people really pissed off. And then they're going to go to the far right. And then they're going to cause all kinds of shit, just like they did at the White House. Okay. And then the people are going to go, yay, 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 because somebody's standing up for them because they're too cowards to do it themselves. We're waiting for somebody to come and save us. Pray, pray, pray. Somebody needs to come and save us. And that's the type of people we've bred, unfortunately. So there's a lot that are, yes, are fighters and yes, want to stand up and yes, want to do right. And thank goodness for all of these people, the people who still believe, that we can do something. But the sad reality is that when you've got millions of people under psychosis, and not just millions, hundreds of millions under a deep psychosis like you see in the United States and how you see in Argentina and everywhere else, and then you see the gauntlet coming. Oh, well, how many, were happy to see Trump signing all of those orders? Well, guess what? He had no real right to sign those orders. He doesn't have that power. He thinks he's the king and he can do whatever he wants. Why? The number one priority of the WEF, Agenda 21. All of these things is to destroy your international human rights. Okay? They have to destroy international human rights. Next, they have to destroy regulations. Regulations. What the regulations that protect you and your family from a corporation coming to install themselves beside you and not poison you. Okay. Assessments. What did Donald Trump do? Okay. He tried to fire 14 people, actually 15 at first, but 14. Fire the people, the regulators, and the ones that will make sure that there's no corruption, the ones that, you know, will audit and research and protect everybody. Well, he doesn't want that because then, he might get charged with more fraud. So he fired them all. So I'm just giving you, a little kind of peek here. But at the same time, it's to prove that, hey, they have to give 30 days to Congress because these people are all approved by the senators. Trump can't just fire them like that. And these are people who are regulators, okay, and who work steady. These are not voted in people. These are people who are under contract to do a certain job to make sure inspectors generals, all of these things. So again, it's unbelievable that people believe that he can just sign an order and it gets done. No, there are laws. A lot of people he can't fire because he'll get sued. So again, you have to really look at things in a way that you have to look at both sides. There's a lot of things that I think he did right to Donald Trump, but he went overboard. Okay, so again, is he really that dense that he thinks that he can just go and fire people without answering to Congress or the fact that he's breaking a contract? He's got to give a good reason for firing them, or he's going to get caught in court. And who pays for that? So anyways, I'm having a lot of people here going, yay for Trump, and you're Trump lovers. And I understand that. And the thing is the same thing's going to be happening with Polyev here. Pierre's going to save the day and everything else, just like the people in Argentina love Millie. So, that there's going to be a nice love fest for everybody, but be very careful. Okay. Because you need to look a little bit beyond what's going on on the other side. Everybody's saying, oh, Klaus Schwab looks pissed off. Well, he's just putting on a show. If you go back to all of the stuff they've been doing, you'll see exactly what these people are up to. AI, number one. Our mRNA, AI, mRNA. Trump, hey, let's go for it. So when I said something about Steve Bannon a while ago, it was just, Steve Bannon doesn't like Elon Musk and vowed that he would have Elon Musk removed before the inauguration. Well, Trump didn't listen to him. Elon Musk was still there. And then Elon wanted TikTok. Then, and then we had O'Leary here run down there to see if he can get his hands on TikTok. Well, our Oracle apparently is now getting it. Okay. And other investors. So who knows, if Elon's still in the picture there, but they're all fighting each other over all this technology that is going to bring in digital ID. It's going to be here. Okay. So this is just fair warning. you know. And yes, he's breaking the rules. Why? Because they need to break all the rules to be able to create, to bring in world law. All of this is for world law. Okay. So remember this date, the 26th of January, 2025. And then we'll talk again in 5 years if I'm still alive. Okay. And then if I was wrong, then okay, I'll admit I was wrong. But give it time. COVID took 4 years for people to really wake up. So let's give this another 4 years, 5 years maybe. Well, I would say four. Okay. Agenda 2030. Everybody thinks all this is going to be disappearing. Well, now they're going to drill, baby, drill. And then, a lot of people don't even realize that all of our oil, most of our oil, 87%, I think, goes to the United States. So they can resell it. And then we have to buy oil, crude oil. We have crude oil, but we buy crude oil from Saudi Arabia. And that's why our oil prices are so high. Now, where's the insanity there? We need to break a contract with the United States and use our own crude oil. Okay. So the way I see it is Canadians won't change. Americans won't change. Everybody's going to be waiting. Things are going to be happening, and the people are going to allow it to happen. They're going to allow it to happen. So the only thing that could stop corporations and the oligarchy from taking over our lives is exactly what we're doing at the Canadian referendum.ca. This is collective self-determination. We have the right to do it as many times as we want, but you need to be able to have the right argument for it and know your stuff. And, just asking a lawyer here in Canada, what's up? He ain't gonna know. Okay, surprise, surprise. And even the politicians don't even know. But I sent them all the information. They all have it. If they read the documents, don't read the documents, nothing will change. People want change, but they don't want to change themselves. And we need to change ourselves here in Canada and to become responsible and to take the right action to stop arguing amongst each other for little things that don't even matter, and then arguing for what are we even talking about in the same context. I was watching things, and the cancel culture is just pathetic. As soon as somebody can have a, get a Nobel prize for how can I say, democracy, and he's spot on and he knows his stuff. But the minute he mentions that he believes that COVID is a real thing, everybody just turn him right off. Okay, let's turn him right off. He has nothing left good for me to listen to. Okay, so that's cancel culture. So I've learned a lot in the last week in regards to attitudes, even my own. Okay. Like I said before, if I didn't know all this stuff, I might fall into the Trump cult, and the Maley cult and Pierre Polyev cults. But I trust nobody, okay, because of what I've read, because of what I've seen, because of how everything's being played. Everybody is always being played. These people have thousands of scholars in their pockets, and to do their work, whatever question they want, they pay, and then they get a deduction anyways, off their taxes. So they don't care how much it costs. So they have all of these people who will bring in information and give them what they want. So hey, and no, John, no, CPU is not going to become a political party. You know how much of a waste of time that is. All you guys need to do is go and sign the referendum. There's a lot faster. If we could get 51% of the population, it's game over. We'd be in control of our governments. We don't need it. The system would work if we had honest politicians, and do without the parties, because we should have 338 MPs all working together, all as independents for each of their communities that they were voted in from, and work together to make this country work. Same as, provincial level. But no, we have instant chaos. It's just one switch over the next. Ooh, liberals in power. Sorry about that. Liberals in power. Conservatives at the provincial level. And then, oops, they just switched sides. So when you listen to Mealy, when you listen to Donald Trump, and then you listen to Poilievre and Stephen Harper behind the scenes, and you see what Trump is doing, and you listen to the head of the United Nations and to the other behind the scenes in regards to AI and all that with the WEF, you go, okay. The United States absolutely needs Canada they are broke. They are going broke technically, okay, because all of their corporations outsourced everything. So I want to show you this video before I go. But anyways, I wanted to get this all off my chest because I seriously think that we're too ahead of our time. Okay, I'm way ahead of my time with this. I've always been, I think, way ahead of our time. So I feel like the book 1984, like they're only going to understand what I'm saying now in 70 years from now. Seriously. Okay, so here goes, everybody. Okay, I'm just going to go and turn it on here. And this is just about tariffs, but I want to leave you with something to have a little bit of an idea here.
What are the Trump tariffs? What are tariffs? Are tariffs inflationary? And will the Trump tariffs actually pass? First, I want to show you some video clips of Trump. So if you didn't know, Trump is a huge fan of tariffs. So I want to show you these clips so that we're on the same page.
But to me, the most beautiful word in the dictionary is tariff. And it's my favorite word.
But it's the most beautiful word in the dictionary, tariff. It will save our country. Only stupid people don't want to use it, or corrupt people also.
Okay, so it's clear, I mean, it's no secret that Trump is a big fan of tariffs. And Trump has floated the idea of imposing a 10% tariff on all foreign imports. So I want to show you.
Well, let me ask you what you're thinking here. Would you want tariffs on foreign goods coming into the U.S., take those revenues and cut taxes on American goods and American families here? Would that be something in a second Trump term?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. Number one, I think we should have a ring around the collar, as they say. I think when companies come in and they dump their products in the United States, they should pay automatically, let's say, a 10% tax. That money would be used to pay off debt. It's a massive amount of money, even at 10%. It's not going to stop business because it's not that much, but it's enough that would really make a lot of money.
Okay, now let me explain to you what a tariff is. So I'm going to give you the definition and then I'm going to break it down for you with an example. A tariff is a tax that is imposed on goods imported from another country. So let's use Toyota cars as an example. So let's say that a Toyota Camry costs $30,000 and it's made outside of America. If there's a 10% import tariff, then there's a $3,000 tax if you want to bring the Toyota Camry into the US to sell it. So the purpose of a tariff is to make foreign products more expensive. If foreign products are more expensive, then the idea is that US consumers will be more likely to buy products that are made in America, because American products would be cheaper because they wouldn't be subject to the tax. It also incentivizes foreign companies to invest in America to make their products in America. So this includes building infrastructure in America and creating jobs in America. So let me show you this video clip. This is of Charlie Kirk to help explain the positive impact of a tariff.
Here's how it really works. Let's just take, and we've done this in the past, let's take a company like Toyota. So Toyota is a Japanese car manufacturer, right? And Lyndon Baines Johnson back in the 1960s said, we're going to do a 25% tariff on all pickup trucks. Now, how do you avoid a tariff? It's not a trick question. You avoid a tariff by making the product in America. No tariff. So Toyota, what they do to get around the pickup truck tariff, which by the way, they're huge. You guys have seen Toyota pickup trucks. They're everywhere. They make all their pickup trucks in America. So what it is, it's a forcing function to re-domicile labor back to the United States, not necessarily to just slap a tariff on top of goods coming in.
So there you have it. The people that support tariffs will say, you impose a tariff to promote domestic production. It will create jobs in America and boost the economy, and the US government will collect more tax revenue. So those are the theoretical benefits. However, there is a cost, and that cost is inflation. So the right question to ask is, do the pros outweigh the cons?
How do celebrities like Justin Bieber and The Rock generate hundreds of millions of dollars? It's actually not what you think. They make a special kind of money known as royalties.
My name is Christian Mickelson, and I help everyday people increase their income online. And I have to say, we're pretty darn good at it. My company is called Publishing.com, and we were just named the 19th fastest growing company in America right now. And there you can see us at number 19 on the list. And the reason we've been so successful in helping regular people make money is because we don't believe you should start your own business. That's what everyone gets wrong. Instead, we show you how to simply plug.
Now, let's talk about the cost, and let's not make this complicated. It's actually very straightforward. So let's start with this. Do you know what a competitive advantage is? A competitive advantage is a quality or a factor that gives you an edge over your competitors. So let me demonstrate with an easy example. So let me ask you, is it more cost effective to generate solar energy in California or in Illinois? So it's not a trick question, just use common sense. The correct answer is California. You know why? It's because California receives more direct sunlight and has less cloud cover compared to Illinois. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. California has a competitive advantage when it comes to solar energy generation. Now, when it comes to making products, some countries have competitive advantages when it comes to their manufacturing, resources, supply chains, and labor pool. So in many cases, it is just much cheaper to make certain products in different countries. Now, did you know that 97% of clothing that Americans purchase in the USA is not made in America? So just look at the tag on your shirt. There's a 97% chance that it's not made in America. Just look at your Nikes from Thailand. Your Vietnamese Lululemon outfits look great. So your clothes from Target made the pilgrimage from China. So you know why the USA imports 97% of our clothing? It's because it's cheaper to make clothing in Bangladesh, in India, and Vietnam compared to America. Employees in Bangladesh, they get paid $150 a month. So that's about 87 cents an hour. So how are Americans supposed to compete with that low-cost labor? If you put a 10% tariff on clothing, it would still be much cheaper to continue buying clothes from Bangladesh. So we're not going to have a clothing industry revival in the US. All that would happen is that the cost of 97% of our clothing would go up by 10%, and it would cause inflation. And do you know why it's cheaper to make clothes overseas? It's not just a low cost of labor, it's a low cost of regulations as well. So just take a look at India. They can throw chemicals and dyes into the waterways or rivers. Just chuck the garbage into the waterways. It causes pollution, but it's cheaper. And they're more relaxed about clogged landfills as well. So they're not as strict as the US. So there's a reason why we as Americans prefer to import clothing. They can do it cheaper and we pay less. And clothing is just one example. Did you know that 70% of everything sold in Walmart is imported? So will tariffs be inflationary? The answer is yes. But again, the proper question to ask is, will the pros outweigh the cons? And Trump answers this question. He gives his opinion in this video clip that I want to show you.
This effect on the overall economy. And yes, you're going to find some people who would gain from individual tariffs. The overall effect could be massive in terms of the economy.
I agree it's going to have a massive effect, positive effect. It's going to be a positive, not a negative.
Okay, now let's answer this question. Who pays the tariff? Is it the foreign country? Is it the consumer? or is it the importer? So think of what you think is the correct answer, but first let me show you what Trump says.
A tariff is a tax on a foreign country. That's the way it is, whether you like it or not. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's a tax on us. No. It's a tax on a foreign country. It's a tax on a country that's ripping us off and stealing our jobs.
Okay, so according to Trump, a tariff is a tax on a foreign country. So that may be his interpretation, but let me tell you how it works. So the question is, who pays the tariff? Okay, so when Walmart imports goods from China, Walmart pays the tariff. So let's just say that Walmart imports a vacuum cleaner from China to sell in America. So let's say that Walmart buys the vacuum for $100 and they sell it for $150 and they make a $50 profit. Now, if there's a 10% tariff, then Walmart buys the vacuum for $100, but they need to pay a $10 tax to the government. If they continue to sell the vacuum for $150, then Walmart's profits will go down from 50 to 40. Now, in order to maintain their $50 profits, Walmart will increase the price of the vacuum from $150 to $160. So essentially, the tax gets passed on to the consumer. And then the end result is that Americans end up paying $10 more for a vacuum. But then you can make the argument that Americans can choose to buy a vacuum cleaner that's made in America. But look at the vacuums made in America. You know how much a Kirby vacuum costs? It's like $500. Like, I'm not going to spend $500 on a vacuum cleaner. Or you can buy a Hoover, but those are still more expensive, around $180. So again, the US consumer ends up paying more in many instances when there are no cheaper made in America alternatives. Okay, so Walmart pays the tax. They pass that additional cost onto the US consumer. Now, where does the tax money go? Walmart sends it to the US Treasury, and it becomes more money for the government to spend. Now, let's talk about this. How much more tax money are we talking about? Like, what's the potential of the new tax revenue for the US government?
Here's a simple trading strategy where you trade the same asset every day at the same time. You can use it to achieve trading success without worrying one bad trade will wipe out months of profits. If you don't want to learn how to...
So in 2024, the US government collected a total of nearly $5 trillion in tax collections. A 10% tariff on all imports is expected to bring in $400 billion of new taxes each year. So therefore, a 10% tariff would bring in about 8% of what the government currently collects. So it would not be anywhere close enough to fund the entire government. Now, I know what some people are going to argue, but I'm already 2 steps ahead of the argument. People will argue that 100 years ago, 93% of the federal government's revenues came from tariffs. So in other words, we don't need an income tax. We can just go with tariffs. America has done it before. So listen, I am not a fan of income taxes, but again, let's use common sense. How big was the size of the government 100 years ago? How much has the government grown? The government has overreached into almost all aspects of our lives. I find it disturbing. 100 years ago, the federal government's spending was 2.7% of GDP. Today, it has grown to 25% of GDP. The government, measured by spending, has grown 10 times bigger in 100 years. So back then, the government was much smaller. Therefore, the government needed less money, and tariffs alone were enough money. Today, the government needs more money, and tariffs alone will not be sufficient. The math ain't mathin'. And I must address this to get ahead of the comments. So people make the argument that Trump imposed tariffs in his previous term, which Biden kept many and also added new ones. And people will make the argument that even though Trump imposed tariffs, it did not spike inflation. So you have to realize that those tariffs were made on a smaller scale. It's nothing like a 10% tariff on all imports. In 2019, Trump's tariffs taxed about $400 billion worth of imports. So that resulted in new tax revenue of nearly $80 billion. So those were targeted tariffs. Imposing a 10% tariff on all $4 trillion of imports would be a whole different level. Now, I want to give you my opinion. The Trump tariff of 10% on all imports will not be enacted. Will Trump create new tariffs? Yes, absolutely. But they will be targeted, many at Chinese imports. So I believe there are two most probable outcomes. So the first one is that Trump backtracks on the idea. So this would not be the first time that he changes his mind. So listen, Trump is only human. Nobody's perfect. So I'll give you some examples of backtracking. Trump has appointed many advisors and government officials, and he ended up firing them. And there are other people that he regrets designating, such as Chair of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. So I'll give you another example, Bitcoin. In 2021, President Trump called Bitcoin a scam. And now he's done a 180. He wants to make the United States of America the crypto capital of the world. So let me show you the video clips.
I'll ask you one last question. You don't like Bitcoin? You wouldn't invest in Bitcoin? Do you invest in the stock market at this moment?
So not at this moment. I think it's high. So I have not invested in the stock market at this moment. I have in the past, but I have not at this moment. I think it's high. Okay. Bitcoin, I just seems like a scam. I was surprised. You know, with us, it was at 6,000 and much lower. I don't like it because it's another currency competing against the dollar. Essentially, it's a currency competing against the dollar. I want the dollar to be the currency of the world. That's what I've always said.
This afternoon, I'm laying out my plan to ensure that the United States will be the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world.
Another big probability is that Congress stops Trump. A big question is, can Trump impose a 10% tariff on all imports without congressional approval? The US Constitution grants the power to impose tariffs to Congress, not the president. However, Congress allows the president to impose tariffs if certain statutory conditions are met. So here are the exceptions. If there are imports that threaten national security, foreign policy, or the economy. If there are trade agreement violations or unfair trade practices. So if Trump attempts to pass a universal 10% tariff and Congress tries to stop him, then he could try to use one of these exceptions. So you've already seen this in action. It's kind of like how Biden forgave $10,000 to student loans, and then Congress said that you can't do that. And then Biden tried to use an exception under the HEROES Act, but then Congress said that that exception does not apply to the situation. So listen, I understand that the House and Senate are both controlled by the Republicans. However, the Republicans do not have 60 seats in the Senate. But they can attempt to use reconciliation for 50. But you also know that rhinos exist. So there are a lot of buts and no certainty for congressional approval. Now you know the benefits of tariffs. Now you know the drawbacks of tariffs. The question is, from a holistic perspective, will it produce more good than bad? Let me know what you think. Please subscribe, and I wish you a good day. Take care.
Stop doing
Okay, so we're back. So that's that. It kind of explains it, how that works. But anyways, that's what it is. So, you know, a lot of people, instead of verifying information, they'll, oh, well, Trump said it. It's going to be good. We got to trust Trump. The people who would have been in that hall when he said, you know, that, who know anything about it would have said, what the hell did he just say? You know, the others who have not a clue, you know, everybody's mother and father and cousin and sister and brother and would have said, oh, yeah, you know, that's not it, you know, watching the economy or knows anything about it. So, oh, yeah, that's what he said. So that's good. I trust him. And same thing again with the crypto. About 5 years ago, I think, well, actually in 2015, okay, 2015, 2016, there was something happening in regards to changing how how businesses and everybody in Canada does our taxes, okay? So here in Canada, you have to have a good accounting measures. So anyways, they came out with the IFRS. And the IFRS, and this is how you can kind of look at Elon Trump's net worth. Okay. Oh my God, he's, you know, I don't remember the exact number. There were almost $450 billion. Um, so $1 billion of wealth that he has. Well, that's not all his wealth, because under the IFRS, and this is for international, especially international companies, they're allowed to put their debt on top of their net worth of their worth. Okay, so if Elon's got $10 billion, okay, in cash, and the rest is all in debt and assets, or assets and then maybe half of debt, that debt is what's bringing him up to over 450 billion, billion dollars. So again, that debt is included in there, and the United States itself does not allow anything else than the good accounting measures, but they allow the corporations to use IFRS. Okay. So anyways, I had made a complaint to the RCMP, and I wanted it to go to Interpol, stating that Canada was doing this against our constitution, that constitutionally that's not allowed. But they went ahead and did it anyways. And then the RCMP said, well, you got to apply through the RCMP. And if the RCMP decides, well, then they're going to send it to Interpol for international crimes. Okay. And I was ignored, of course, and I knew that. And the thing is because if you look, I'm in Ontario, and Hydro One, which is our hydro, there was this big thing going on about the fact that now in international law, business law, Hydro One was being taken to court in regards to giving Ontario citizens a rebate by going through Hydro One. Okay. They got taken to court by an international company saying that Hydro One was infringing on their right to compete. Competition law. So the people who own the hydro, the Ontario citizens, who have Hydro One, and Hydro One wants to give the citizens a little break. It's their company. Can't touch it. Illegal due to competition law. Okay, so I mean, I could go way back on all kinds of stuff like this that most people don't know about, but that's the reality of things, people. So are Canadians going to understand any of these stuff going on? They don't understand it now. I don't see that that's going to change, unfortunately. Okay, till it's way too late. Same as with the Americans, same as with the people in, what was it, Argentina, or the other countries. People are busy with their own lives, right? Don't have time to study, don't have time to read, don't have time to start researching all of this stuff. It takes years. And, it's just never ending. So when I saw what was going down, I thought, okay, well, I'm going to look at the international. And sure enough, the WEF's right behind there. So is the Zionists, who have taken over and abusing their own Jewish people to no end, and everybody else. So again, these are the wealthy Zionists using Zionism to, make all kinds of claims and pity so that they can get rich again. So you have to really look, and, denying anything isn't going to get you anywhere. A lot of people are in denial as to what happens. They don't want to admit it. It's like my mother saying, she's got some side effects from the vaccine, and as far as she's concerned, it's not the vaccine. Okay. Am I going to argue with her? No. All I have to do is satisfy myself that when she does go, we're still close and we didn't bother arguing, and there's nothing I can do to change her ways. Same as there's nothing I can do to change Canadian citizens and how they think and how they're going to look at this and thinking that, oh, Poilievre's going to come and save the day. Be very careful what you wish for. And I'm going to leave you all with that. Okay. So again, January 26th, 2025. I think everything's coming down the pike. Eventually, nobody will have taxes to pay, but then you're going to be stuck at home with what they call a universal income. You will no longer have pension. Elon Musk wants to stop pensions, and Elon Musk is in every scenario. Germany, Russia, everywhere. China. Okay. He's buying votes. He's doing all kinds of things. And he needs all those corporations to support him and to buy his products and to help him survive. And right now, the United States is sinking because of the BRICS. All of the countries decided to go with Russia and the BRICS and China to buy their stuff. The United States will no longer have much to use. Okay, so Trump's tariffs going to backfire. And if you start watching what's happening, apparently in regards to Greenland, he had a very nasty, Trump had a very nasty phone call with the Denmark official there, president, and he was apparently screaming on the phone that he wants it and he needs those minerals. So, and then I have Mr. Kennedy, that is a senator, not Robert Kennedy Jr., but I think maybe a cousin. But anyways, this is a man that I love to hear talk, that he was bang on. He was straightforward, as a senator. And then all of a sudden, he's having a fit over the Chagos Islands. Well, I know everything about the Chagos Islands, okay, because of decolonization. And he's all upset because they need that base. Well, they still have that base, but now they have to pay to use that base to the people of Mauritius. Okay, so they have to pay Mauritius now to be able to use the Chagos Islands, and that's Diego Garcia Island, where they have a military base. And now he's having this, he looked like he was having a nervous breakdown. And to me, it was like, okay, what the hell happened to him? And well, he's under Trump now, okay? And he's got to support his party with Trump. So he looked like he was totally lost. And now, why is the United States now all screaming and saying that, oh, the UN was, went and gave this back to the people and of Mauritius and, all upset over it? Hey, that's decolonization, okay? So now you've got the United States going back into imperialism and wanting to take over all kinds of countries. That was done away in 1960 because of World War II, and everybody was set free. So obviously Trump doesn't know, and many others don't know what decolonization is. And any peoples of any countries internationally have every right to collective self-determination as many times as we want in our countries, but we need to do it together. And this is what I was trying to produce. So nobody really understood it. Nobody really wanted to follow it. Nobody really wanted to see what we had to say and to verify the information for themselves. So, hey, maybe this is goodbye. Okay? Because damned if I do and damned if I don't. And no hope for Canadians if nothing changes. No hope for Americans either. They're even worse. And what did the WEF have to destroy? What did they have to destroy the most? The West. The United States. And how do you do that? Trump's doing it. Okay? There's not a big comeback of the United States. It's a big comeback of globalization, corporate agendas. And we're all going to be sitting here with a digital ID if people do not make a move. Okay? We're running out of time. There is hardly no time left. Hardly no time left. We can't compete with the kind of monies they have. We can't do anything. All we can do is compete with the people, and the people supporting us and joining and learning and using that so that their children will always have this country to fall back on. If not, it's game over for us, for everybody. Think about it. Go and read CanadianReferendum.ca. That referendum is to give an order to the Governor General. We are in our legal rights to do so. If you think this is worth a shot in hell, then please support us, join, and sign. Otherwise, we may as well just fold and let the chips all fall, and maybe someday some young person will find our documents, will read it and say, hey, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we can still do this. Who knows? But tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay? And as long as you do nothing, the clock's going to stop. Think about
Attention, Canadians. Do you feel disconnected from our current political system? This could be our last chance to take a real legal stand for our rights. It's time to shift the political power to its rightful owners, the Canadian citizens and Indigenous peoples of Canada. Dive into our history, understand the need for change, and embark on the quest for true democracy. Are you concerned about our nation's commitment to human rights and self-governance? The power shift to freedom aligns with vital treaties and international laws enabling us to claim our rightful place as collective head of state. We advocate legally replacing the Crown, King Charles III, and our partocracy system with a true democracy, the peoples as the true collective head of state with veto power over our governance, to ensure your voice counts more than party interests. When our national collective civil and political rights are respected, your influence on policies will be direct and impactful. Join us on this noble struggle to make every Canadian and Indigenous peoples a meaningful participant in our future as collective head of state, which was legally owed and kept from us since the patriation of our Constitution, an official decolonization from the United Kingdom of 1982. It's time to correct the past of our government's lies and omissions to the people of our great country before it is too late. People 15 years old and over can sign our Canadian People's Referendum at CanadianReferendum.ca and unite for our rights as the collective head of state in our Constitution. Together, we can be the example in reshaping Canada's future, not just for us, but for all peoples worldwide, once and for all. Are you ready to be part of this transformative movement? Join the Power Shift to Freedom movement by the Canadian People's Union and be part of a bold vision for Canada's future. Visit thecpu.ca for more details. Embrace and face the change required on your part to shape our future.
Oops. Okay, I just want to leave with a few more words before I go. And that's the fact that the only thing that can replace in a in a constitutional monarchy, the only thing that is constant that can replace a king or queen, okay, And that's for everybody on the planet, like especially the 15 countries of the realm, okay, our sister countries, Australia, New Zealand, everybody else, is the people as a whole, as the collective head of state. That is a constant. So when they give us, they say, yeah, but a monarchy, at least it's constant. If you're looking at a president like the United States and, Macron in France, they come and go. Nothing stays constant. But who? The people. So if the people of the United States want to do like we did, they sure as hell can, because they are already in their constitution. We the people. We're not. And nobody else is in the realm. So everybody can do like what we're trying to teach everyone here, Canadian referendum. And for the first time in the history of this planet, the people would finally be in power, where oligarchs could no longer rule, because we haven't changed since the Roman days in Greece. Okay? Nothing's changed since. We have not learned in all those years since democracy started. A true democracy, the people are in power. The people decide what they do with their natural resources. They decide what corporations can do and can't do inside their country. They decide what the banks do and can't do. We decide. We have that right. To walk away from the United Nations right now would be the stupidest thing anybody could ask for, because that's where we get our International Bill of Human Rights. This was decided by 193 countries. Even if a country is not part of the UN or, the UN, even if they decide to come out, our rights are erga omnes. And if you look at my presentations, it explains it in there that even if a country is not part of that, it's the rule for the planet. Majority rules, and the majority of the countries decided that after World War II. Okay? It's up to the people. We've had that right. None of the countries who decolonized after 1960, over 80 countries decolonized. And any country that wants to decolonize properly, give me a call. If Greenland were to decolonize from Denmark and stand up, the people, the 56,000 people would stand up on their own feet, they'd be the wealthiest people in the world. But the people don't understand, don't bother reading, don't get educated. And we've got all the proof. So yes, Greenland can collectively self-determine. They don't need to join the United States. They can be their own people and stand on their own 2 feet, just like we can. We give 80% of our oil, 87% of our oil almost, to the United States for cheap. And then we have to buy it for more money. Who's the idiot here? Right? It's time that we have a chance to become smart. This is the only thing that could outsmart all of the oligarchs, the WEF, the corrupt Zionists abusing their own people. We could finally all be free. Get informed. CanadianReferendum.ca. Good night, everybody.